Good evening, listeners. Tonight's episode, robbing a bunch of stiffs, or can you dig it? Viewer discretion real quick, because we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about grave robbing, but also if you're not into necrophilia, this is probably not the episode for you, because we are going to talk about some sick shit.
But if you are, you're in the right place.
But if you are into it, welcome. Glad to have you. So we should start off with
movies about grave robbing.
All right.
Well, one of my favorites that technically is about grave robbing is The Mummy, you know, Brendan Fraser and all that.
Love that movie.
You know, if you think about it, if all those archaeologists, i.e. grave robbers, didn't disturb the grave, you know, then Egypt wouldn't have got all jacked up by Imhotep and we wouldn't have had.
And grave robbing kind of really did start like in ancient Egypt. You know what I mean? Like, because they were buried with all like their treasures. They had everything with them. So grave robbers are immediately like, I'm going to rob this fool. Like, because why would you not? And that's where it originally kind of started.
And that's why a lot of the tombs have the like booby traps and stuff like that. Actually, what's older, ancient Egypt or ancient China?
Yes.
Okay, I think ancient Egypt is older.
I would assume Matt's like, I'm going to look it up. Look it up, Matt.
Look that up, Matt.
Oh, wow. That came up right away. 2,200. No, that can't be right.
What?
Yeah. 2,200 years ago. Oh, there's one in the Terracotta Army, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. 208 BC. So over 2,000 years ago. So it's not as
Egypt
old.
is 3,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so ancient Egypt. Yeah, I know that they built a lot of their tombs for that specific purpose and stuff. But I actually just learned something too. I learned that by the 50-year mark, if you take something out of a grave, it's considered archaeology. Something, not a person.
Shit.
At the 150-year mark, if you take a body out of a grave, that's considered archaeology. So it's weird. Yeah, you could like 50-year mark. Okay, I'm going to go rob these riches, and it's considered archaeology at that point.
I'm coming for you, great grandma.
I'm coming for you, Grandma.
So with The Mummy, tell us more about, because I love that movie. I just can't.
love that movie.
Well, whatchamacallit, I remember one of the main scenes is like they had like the canopy jars, which had Imhotep's remains in it, and he was wanting those so he can become whole again, and he was like putting his like curses and stuff like that on the other
he
archaeologists.
took home to his eyes?
Yeah, and all that stuff. And if you really go back and watch that movie, it was a classic. Like that was definitely like Universal's kickstart for like rebooting like classic horror movies for sure.
Tried again with The Mummy. Remember that?
The Chinese one or
No, the
Tom Cruise one?
Tom Cruise. Yeah, I couldn't think of it.
I forgot about that.
I actually haven't seen that, but I really want to watch it. Heard it was so bad, it's like good.
I'm not interested in that at all.
They were supposed to have the whole like epic universe. Like Russell Crowe was supposed to be, I think Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I believe.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Again, I could be wrong. I didn't look into it that much because it didn't take off. But yeah, they were supposed to have a whole like a Wolfman movie. They did have a Wolfman, but I don't think it was a part of the same epic universe. I think it was supposed to be a different one at that point. But it was supposed to, like how Disney does the Marvel, it was supposed to be like their competition to that.
They're actual MCU monster cinematic universe.
They are opening up a theme park in Florida called Epic Universe, and they will have a Universal Monsters like land.
Whoa, that's
I would love
sick.
that.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. They're
should
supposed
go
to
to
have
that.
like Dracula's castle. It's supposed to be like the centerpiece of that land.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they do reboot it and do it better and just like take their time.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but as you were saying, sorry, back with the original Mummy movie. The
Oh yeah, no, I whatchamacallit, I always think about that, and then I did watch parts of Young Frankenstein.
Best movie.
Love
Frankenstein. I apologize.
That's Frankenstein.
So most famous grave robbing movie, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
A good one. Yeah. Have you guys ever watched the original?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I watched like the blaxploitation version of Frankenstein.
Wait, what was it called?
I can't remember.
Was it recent?
No, this was old. This was old, like 1970. There was that, and there was like Blackula. Blackula was actually. I'm not kidding here. This is legit. It had an entertaining value to it, and it kept my attention when I watched it.
When was that made?
70 something. I'll look it up right now.
I'm gonna check
Look that
that
up now.
out.
There was a movie that came out recently
cool.
called I'm just telling you, I think it's the title of the movie. It's called like The Black Girl and the
1972.
Monster. I saw it on like a Watch Mojo ad or something
no
like that.
shit.
And it actually looked pretty legit. Like I wouldn't mind watching that one. But it's all these different takes on Frankenstein, you know?
Stop, dude.
What is
that
it?
guy looks cool as fuck.
You know what's funny is like Dr. Jack, like I had it back in English class, like back in high school, college. I had to read Frankenstein and I had to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I remember The Curious Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
That
or
was
whatever.
a boring book. I'm gonna be
That
honest
book was
with you.
so goddamn boring.
It was all science
It
stuff.
was.
I
I read it in October.
I've never wanted to punch a teacher so badly.
I'm going to punch you in the ovary. That's what I'm going to do.
No, with Frankenstein, it is very different. The book is very different from the movie in a lot of ways. Like, you know that. You know, you read it. I read it when I was in high school, I think.
Same.
Yeah, I think I didn't read it when we were required to, but I think we were required to read it at some point. I just remember, like, how he actually, like, takes Frankenstein, the monster takes Frankenstein. He's like, let me tell you my story and, like, explain to you what I've been through, you know, all of that. Whereas in the movie, he's like, yeah, exactly. Which
his brain was like, you know,
Abby normal.
Abby normal.
Comparatively, it's not that scary, you know?
No.
But if you think about it back in the day, like, you didn't have a way to look up stuff. Like, you weren't, like, your brain wasn't thinking about that kind of creature, you know? So when you're in a dark theater and you see him, the first scene
You're
where
thinking
he's
about
like
the Dust Bowl and the famine and all that back then.
Yeah, exactly. Like real, like, things. Whereas this is like a made up creature. And just like when he's staring at the camera and stuff, and it's all quiet. It's really quite scary, you know?
Very eerie.
Yes. Or like when they're in the windmill and it's flipping around and stuff and you just see his face there. Something I was reading about with that was, obviously we all know, like, Mary Shelley was inspired by the scientific experiments of the time. Mm-hmm. But I did learn about galvanism. You guys have heard of that?
Enlighten us. For those who don't know,
galvanism is basically like the use of electricity. It was invented by Luigi Galvani. It's not Galvan, but Galvani. Luigi Galvani, something like that.
Get it, girl.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, he believed that we were full of electricity, which he's not terribly wrong, but he thought we were more powered by electricity, you know? And so what he would do is hook up frogs' legs to electric currents, and then he would make them move. And from that, like, people were debating, like, is this like a biological occurrence, or is this just like electricity shooting through him and making the muscles move? Which we know that's what it is.
Yes.
But at the time, like, they thought it was a real. I mean, it did help a lot with science, but they thought that was like, oh, there's more to this. We can reanimate bodies. And so, like, over time, like, they'd start, like, using, like, cows and sheep's heads and a dog's head in, like, the early 1900s. It's the same exact kind of thing. So his nephew, Giovanni Aldini, what he started doing was actually, like, taking cadavers with their heads cut off and shooting electricity through them. And so in 1803, he did this experiment where he took a recently convicted criminal who just hung and took his whole body and, like, in front of a whole audience, like, shot him full of electricity, and, like, his eyes started opening and, like, his mouth started twitching. Ooh. And his hands were twitching, and everyone in the room, they'd never seen anything like this.
Now I know what it feels like to be God.
You know, so to them, it's like, is this
shocking?
Yeah. So
Got him.
I'm so mad right now.
Sorry.
So they were basically like, oh, this is a success, but he wanted him to come back to life. So to him, it was a failure, you know?
Yeah.
But everyone in the room was like, no, he was basically, like, coming back to life. So it was this big debate. Sure enough, 1816 comes around. Mary Shelley writes Frankenstein, basically using that experiment as her inspiration for the book.
Also with Frankenstein, so, like, in the 1900s, there was people that would body snatch, right? And it was real popular in the 1900s because at that time you could only get corpses from, like, dead inmates, prisoners that died, people that have committed suicide, or orphans.
Like,
that died.
dead or? Okay.
Yes. Those are the only bodies I could get. So it's very rare for these doctors to get their hands on it, and they needed to figure some shit out. So it was like 1827. William Hare and Burke, they were, like, very famous body snatchers, right? So they become friends.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup.
Hare has a lodging, like a little lodging house for, like, people that come stay there. So these two guys, they be staying in there. There's people rolling in. They be getting drunk. And then they get sick, right? Then they kill these people. And then they take them to Dr. Knox, he worked at a university in Scotland. And he's paying these guys to get him these bodies. And the fresher the bodies, the more money they get. His landlord died. These two guys take him to the doctor. They pay him 10 pounds, I believe,
Which at
for the first body.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as fresh, you know what I mean? Well, when they found out they could get more money, they're like, we're just going to kill people. And we're going to kill people that people aren't even going to remember, so it doesn't even matter. And this went on for only a year, and they killed 16 people, I believe. It was like 16 people that they killed in a year, and eventually they got caught. Which was crazy is Hare, I believe, the police told him, like, hey, if you tell us everything that happened, like, you'll be free to go. And he was like, all right. So he admitted to everything. Court date came. Burke, like, was like, nah, it wasn't me. I'm not guilty. So it all went on Hare. Hare, they're like, we're going to hang you. Also, we're going to use your body for dissection because you be taking people doing the same thing. And then they preserved his skeleton. So they're like, you'll always be on display for like the stuff you guys did. That was like early 1900s.
I'm surprised that happened in the 1900s.
Oh, yeah. They're like catching people that like, you're not going to know them. They're just like
That's
drunks,
true.
you know what I mean, that roll into town.
Well, a lot of the body snatching stuff I was reading about was like more like 1800s, that kind of thing. So I'm surprised it continued that.
1870,
Yeah.
20,
I mean, they were like
1827.
basically serial killers at that point.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I guess they were
absolutely.
serial killers, you know?
Yeah, because they would eventually kill these people and immediately take them to them.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were getting money. And they only got caught because one of the people that worked for the doctors recognized one of the people they brought in. They're like, where did you find this girl? And then they started to get suspicious. The doctor didn't give a shit, dude.
They didn't
obviously.
get suspicious before, like...
No, you knew they were suspicious, but the doctor was in such need of bodies. Like,
Yeah.
ask questions later, dude. Just get it now, and we'll worry about whatever happens.
Where's the Hare? Is that the one that got killed?
Yeah.
Or where's his
He's
skeleton?
in Scotland, but I don't know where in Scotland it's at exactly.
I think it's gnarly when like skeletons and like heads and stuff are on display. Like at the Museum of Death, there's a criminal I think he's from France. I don't remember his name. He had his head cut off at the guillotine. His head is totally mummified and on display at the Museum of Death in Hollywood. You're walking by it and you're like, that's not real.
Yeah.
And then like, that's real.
It says Burke's death mask and skeleton, as well as Hare's life mask, are on display at the Anatomical Museum at the University of Edinburgh. Whatever. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you're
like,
like
I know
struggling
what
with
that
it.
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
I'm not a strong radar.
I love you, Jenny.
I love that, Jedi. These are my magic shoes. So it's funny that you bring up body snatching because one movie I did watch in the last week was Gangs of New York. It's one of my
love that
that's one of my top movies. Like
That's
that's one of those
Learn
movies I can
me.
always put on the background. And so there's this scene where Bill the Butcher, he's sitting there and he tells Leonardo DiCaprio's crew, he's like sitting there like, there's a Portuguese ship out in the harbor on quarantine. So they get to the ship and like when they get there and this dude comes out with a musket, like about to shoot them. He like falls out and he's like dying. They're like, oh, we gotta get out of here. Harbor police are gonna come soon, blah, 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 blah. And right when they're about to, you see Leonardo DiCaprio like just chuck one of the bodies over onto their boat, and they took the bodies over to like another study place like that, and the guy pays him out like how much, and he's like, how fresh are the bodies? He's like, oh, they're very fresh. And he's like, very fresh. And
Very fresh.
and he pays him a little extra money, and then like it made the newspapers right away that like these ghouls stole bodies. One of the other members of Bill's crew's like, that's a low thing to do. That's a low thing. And they're like,
You're so into this.
it was like it's because it's one of the greatest scenes because like there's like this like fist fight inside this bar where like right afterwards, because he's like, are you calling me this? And he's like, I don't know, but okay, well, if you called me this, then that's fighting words and I got to whip your ass. And like Leonardo DiCaprio just like went toe to toe with this guy and was like, and at the very end, like fish hooks him, like sticks his fingers like into his mouth and like starts pulling on it, like about to rip his cheek off.
Does
like
he?
It's wild.
No, he doesn't, but it's like, and like, yeah, this guy like messing around with like a little like string thing that's like ding 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 ding. A lot of the characters in the movie are actual real people. Bill the Butcher's real. The Mayor Tamity or whatever his name is a real person, and all this stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of exaggerations in the movie, but I was like, dang, that's still pretty legit.
I mean, entertainment
for
purposes,
real.
but
It's a freaking amazing
it's
movie.
a good little insight into like the past. And
Oh yeah,
everything.
definitely, because like you find out like the 5 points later on becomes Times Square.
Times Square.
And things
Sorry,
like
I hurt
yeah.
my foot last weekend, and I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm good. Go ahead.
But yeah, so it's just one of those like it's definitely worth watching. But when we're on the subject of other movies and stuff like that, sad to say, I found out while doing some digging, I found out I never knew this until just 3-4 days ago when I texted you guys that Charlie Chaplin was grave robbed.
Oh yeah.
Like,
What did they take from him?
did they take his head or his whole body?
They took his like.
Go ahead.
I thought you meant like jewelry or something was.
No,
taken
they
from
took
him.
no, they jacked him.
Oh
I mean,
no, not
yeah.
Charles. So what we? Okay,
and they held him for ransom for it was like $600,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot now, but it was.
That's nuts.
I know. That also took William
Oh,
Shakespeare's
no,
skull.
That I did see.
Yeah.
What did they ever find his skull?
I don't believe so. Well, I didn't.
You know
see.
that's in the black market somewhere.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I would
Some
buy
rich
that,
dude.
I would absolutely buy his skull.
There's probably like some sultan in India or something like that, just
Yeah.
sitting there like.
Come to my
I
back
have-
room.
Like,
But it's
'cause
also
they
like,
always
how do you
go-
know it's
'cause
legit?
I mean,
Like if you're selling on the black market, I will just.
I would.
I'll just dig up a dead body.
They
take
probably
the head, and
every
then
once in a while they
say-
probably have it like carbon dated or something like that. Like,
Smart.
oh, okay, that's about the time
Okay,
Bill's
smart.
death right there. you know?
so speaking of how do you know it's legit? Did either one of you guys happen to catch the grave robbing for morons video on
Yeah,
YouTube?
No.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
girl, yes.
I just discovered
yes, I
that.
did.
Apparently, it's a really popular older video. I'd never heard of it before. Have you?
I gotta watch it now.
Oh
you
my
didn't
gosh, you
come
have
across
to.
it at all? Not even a little bit.
No.
There's so many
Okay.
reaction videos to that too.
Is it really?
Yes, I watch reaction videos on that too. People like breaking down that video.
We should do a reaction video.
Oh my god,
sometime.
we totally should. That's a good idea.
Like this video if you want us to do a reaction video.
please do.
So there was this video I was watching where this guy was analyzing the video and explaining if it's real or not. And he was saying that like basically like the bones that the kid has in the video like look too real and they're probably real. Some of the stuff he's saying is like really not professional. Like the kid was saying, put the bones on the top of your roof so that they can dry and stuff like that. But the guy in the video said that that's like why would you do that? Like put bones on your roof, someone would see them and call the police, you know?
Idiot.
Unless you have a closed off system, you know what I mean? Like I guess you wouldn't just want everyone to see them, you'd have some kind of like guarding thing. But at one point in the video, the kid is explaining that the people that want the skull or whatever it is you're bringing back, the teeth or something like that, they want proof of it being the person. So
So let's say they have a mustache, you bring that definitely, all right? This person had a mustache when they died. Then you bring it, it's usually around here.
So, I mean, I'm just saying if that is real, you'd want, I mean, I think like dental records and stuff, but you can't go to the dentist and be like, hey, give me these dental records because I have this skull of this person that's not supposed to be out of the ground, you know?
Get out mustache hair.
Mustache hairs, which even then you can't really.
No.
I guess if you're rich enough to buy William Shakespeare's skull, you can probably pay to have that.
Oh,
DNA
You know, DNA.
tested.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry to get off subject because you said mustache. It just reminded me. I don't know if you guys have you heard of Charlie Bronson? Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Toy Slug?
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So in that movie, Tom Hardy is actually wearing his mustache.
Like Charles Branson's real mustache.
Yes,
Yes,
he gave
I've
him
heard about
his
this.
motherfucking mustache, dude. That is a legit mustache.
Wait,
that is his mustache.
Is he still? Oh, he's not alive. Was he alive at the time of the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he still alive now?
I'm not too
I
sure,
don't know.
but
Matt, look that
Bronson
up.
was
Confirm.
he was alive because I heard the same thing,
Isn't
and
that
I also
wild?
heard because he corresponded with Bronson the whole time, like during the filming of the movie and before, like
Trying to give him like respect and stuff.
I don't think Hardy went full method for the character.
It looked like he did.
He like
The music in that movie, solid.
I never
that
even
movie
thought
itself
about
is
it.
solid.
I saw the movie like 10 years ago. I remember
freaking
being
love
naked
that movie.
for a lot of that movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, that's when I was like,
You're
I
like,
think I
that's a
Tom
dong.
Hardy, dude. Look at that butt.
I thought that's what you were gonna say. Like
Hey.
Tom Hardy was, and I thought you were saying naked. I'm like, yeah, he
You
was.
said absolutely. Yes, he
yeah,
was.
yeah, he definitely was in that movie. But I didn't realize he was
that
wearing.
music that was playing too in that scene. I was like, this. I love it, dude.
I'm gonna
you
go
just saw a
YouTube
lot of
that
Tom's
later.
Hardy.
Now I'm gonna go upload that on Spotify because I haven't listened to that album in a long time.
No, I did not know he was wearing his actual
Yes,
mustache.
dude.
I didn't know
That's
that
wild.
either. Like I didn't know, and I remember when you said that.
Pretty
'Cause,
damn
like,
accurate. Beats any
Yeah,
costuming.
good mustache, dude.
Yeah.
Very good mustache.
Can you imagine like what that would have been like though? Just like, hey, you crazy motherfucker! Do you
Yeah, that's
like?
you
we're
want my
making
mustache?
a movie about you.
Do you want my mustache?
Dude, it's like you're not gonna say no.
Yeah.
He's like,
Absolutely not.
yeah. Can you
I'd be
imagine?
honored to wear your mustache, sir.
And like the way like Tom Hardy talked. Yeah, I'd like that a lot.
Oh shit, man.
Or would he just do full band? Yes, I would love your mustache.
Of course.
How we get on the topic of Tom Hardy and the mustache?
you said something about.
You brought up Bronson randomly because
No,
we
I
saw.
didn't.
So no, you didn't. She talked about finding a mustache like to
Hairs.
Oh.
Okay, that's
Boom,
right.
there it is.
We're
So
back.
sorry, y'all.
And we're
Robert.
back. Yeah, no, that was basically what the kid in the video said. But I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched like half of it and then like the whole analysis video of the
Alright.
grave robbing one for the kid. I think it's real. Whether it's shock value or not, like it just seemed very to me. I believe it's real.
the vibe he threw out. I was like, yeah, you definitely dig up dead people.
Yeah,
dude.
with his
Absolutely.
sketchy twitch and stutter the whole time.
Yeah, I'm like,
so it's
he freaked me out.
huh?
I said he freaked
Yeah.
me out. He made me so uncomfortable.
He's got like a leather jacket on and like long hair, and he's just like twitching the
He's
whole
like,
time.
I'm so PR.
Yeah, it's pretty
God.
gnarly. I'll have to show you later.
Oh God!
It's like
alright.
the
You need
first,
to, it's good.
yeah, like grave robbing for dummies or morons or something like
Okay.
that. But it makes me actually, you know what? There is a tattooer named Paul Booth, and he's all into that really grotesque, creepy stuff. And there's a documentary where he's talking, and Paul Booth is talking about like a couple of fans showed up at his hotel room and were like, "Hey, we have something for you in our trunk." And so he went out there. And they opened up the trunk, and it was a fresh head from a graveyard.
Oh,
and they're like,
shit.
yeah, like we saw it and we took it. Basically, like there was a rain or something, and I don't remember exactly how the story goes, but it had been in the ground for a good amount of time.
No shit.
And so like the skin was all like gross
decaying?
and yeah, and just not like there was maggots all in it and shit. And I guess he told him like, this is no good. Like I appreciate it, but it's not good,
can't
not
take
for
that.
me.
I
Yeah.
I didn't even take it out of the bag. I put it back in the box. And I said, guys, if there's anyone that would take this as a gift, it's me. But, yeah, it was the one time I didn't take a gift.
Well,
that. No,
Exactly.
thank
But
you.
could you imagine having such a reputation that people just show up with body
You
parts
want
for
this?
you? Exactly.
I think it would have been
I have
more.
this for you.
I think it would have been more kinder
It's
if
like
like they like
offering.
stuck it in like a formaldehyde jar and then be like, dude.
Dude, you can buy like animals. I'm sure that everyone knows this, but you can buy like animals and animal fetuses and animal parts in formaldehyde. And I'm pretty sure you could probably buy like some human parts depending on where you go, but I'm pretty sure it's
sure you
illegal.
could.
Well, I know some places where there's like real skulls. I won't say where, but basically at the
At our house.
Yeah.
Hollywood Boulevard.
No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of, actually, it's kind of funny you talk about we talk about like preserving bodies, and formaldehyde is they just announced it earlier is that they were able to reanimate frozen rat kidneys and transplant them into a rat, and they are functioning.
No shit.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
and they were talking about like they're getting all those people that like froze themselves in the 70s and stuff like that. They're saying that there's possibly hope to reanimate them soon. And like on the radio, they're talking about, they're like, dude, like what about like Walt Disney coming back to like this?
He's not frozen.
I don't know. Like if
He's
he is
buried.
He's not.
like I don't know if he's
frozen.
like, I know it's a joke, but like if legit, like what if he is frozen? Like
If he is and he comes back,
it's gonna be some of the most racist
bigger-
shit ever. You know that.
Oh, there'll definitely be the groups. I will say that. But there will be so many Disney adults lining up. It'll be like the second coming of Christ for them. I swear to God.
I bet you
Yeah.
it would.
Like
I would
he's
probably
gonna go
be
to like
there.
go
I was
to
like, Tara, you gonna be
Yeah,
there for sure.
absolutely. I'd pay good money for that.
Brian Singer and all of them are gonna go to Africa, and they're gonna be like finding Pride Rock and then like hoisting Walt's like, animated body
He's back. Exactly.
in front of like all these Disney fans.
No, I didn't. So it's how long were those rat kidneys?
They didn't say
Frozen.
how long they last or how long they were frozen, but they said that legitimately they froze them at minus whatever degrees, and then through some. And I always think like they didn't say the exact process, but I always think of like because they said that they had to
They're not
slowly
going to give you their recipe.
yeah, they're not gonna give you the recipe, but I think of like that movie Demolition Man where like they just sat in the goo for a little hot warm goo for a while and then like came back to temperature.
You can't flash heat it. You
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
like
You
let
can't
it
just
come
throw it
back.
in the microwave and press defrost and call it good.
I mean,
maybe you do because then you'll get the
Maybe that's the
electricity,
trick.
the Galvini stuff,
galvanism.
galvanism.
With the rat kidneys, is it just kidneys they tried that on, or
They said kidneys and I believe a liver.
okay?
Interesting.
Yeah, but and the funny thing, but the thing is though, a lot of people still don't know to this day is that our genome is actually closer to a rat than a primate.
They're no monkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why some people they grow ears off of rats. Like, have you ever seen those things where they grow ears off of rats and stuff like that?
No, but that's freaking cool.
Like our genomes are closer to rats than we are to the
Why
primates.
is that?
I don't know.
That's wild.
Like, oh yeah, we're related to them, and you have to explain, no, man, you see that rat carrying the cheese over there? We're more related to that guy over
I'm
there.
gonna look that up because I took an anthropology class a while back, and I have questions, but.
Well, if you think about it, like all the cadavers that we use for other parts, like cow valves for our heart and pig hearts and things like that.
We can do that?
Yeah.
I'm not that scientifically educated.
Me neither.
Even South Park covered an episode of that where Lenny Boo Boo was like having a heart attack or something like that. And she's like, I'm getting me a pig heart.
So there's two different terms. There's shared genes and working DNA. We are genetically much closer to chimpanzees because the two values, shared genes and working DNA, are so different. There's great confusion online. But when people start saying that we're closer to rats than chimpanzees, that's scientifically completely wrong.
Oh.
There's only a small amount of our gene code that is working DNA. Of our gene code is working DNA, as little as 5%. The rest is chimps and humans split more recently, and both have likely changed a great deal genetically afterwards. Yeah, because remember, like, genetics and stuff, or not genetics, evolution, we came from, like, the one that branched off into multiples after isolation and
Mutants?
Mutations. Thank
Mutations.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, but like we're not related to rats in that kind of way. So like the best scientific experiment would be on a primate, not a chimpanzee necessarily, because I think bonobos were actually the most closely related to.
Oh, really?
I don't know why it is exactly. I don't remember what the reasoning was, but bonobos, I believe, are the primate that we are the closest. So if we want
Are
to
those
actually,
the ones with like the dick noses?
I don't think so,
Oh,
but
okay.
I could be wrong. Let's look up what a bonobo is. I know what you're talking about, though. Oh, no, they look like chimps. Why do they think that they were completely different?
Dang, that's an ugly monkey.
They're not cute. Okay, so yeah, that's a bonobo. I was thinking a bonobo was completely different.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess that they're very closely related to a chimp as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so I always thought that statement was kind of, let me see it.
The
What are
dick
those
nose
guys
monkey?
called? What are they called?
Oh, I don't know. It literally says dick nose monkey on one of the
I am
titles.
so curious as to what your search history is like on Google.
Proboscis monkey?
Proboscis, yes. Okay. I act like I know what I'm talking about. Proboscis.
You said yes, that's correct.
Yes. Yeah, so I just had a feeling that statement was incorrect. But
I always, the weird thing is, like, I always hear, like, things that we're closer to rats, but I guess.
almost feel like people say that so that we can, not we, but people are able to get away with testing on rats more, if that makes any kind of sense.
yeah.
Like, it makes you more confident in the experiments. I could be wrong with that statement, but that's just me being the cynical person I am. And I feel like if you want to, like, get someone to buy your product, then you start paying the scientists to come out with the studies to say we're more closely related to them. And so, therefore, this experiment would work on a rat the same way it would on you.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just conspiracy. Going forward we talked about Frankenstein. Who are some other famous people that got grave robbed? Obviously, like every pharaoh known to man, except for King Tut, immediately.
There's that one president's like son. Who was it?
I don't.
Dang it.
George Washington Jr.
No. Speaking of fucked up stories, though, y'all, I do have one.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so
Spill it.
I'm like reading about it over the weeks. I come across this story just like not a few days ago, dude. I'm obsessed with it. It's about
The head drop. That's how I know it's good.
This is like the title that caught my eye. It said, "Body snatcher, a grave robber makes girls into dolls." I said, "Excuse me?
That sounds like a horror movie.
Excuse me?" I click on it. It is the truth. Okay,
Really?
It's this Russian man. His name is Anatoly. I'm so sorry for the last name. Moskvin. I don't know.
Good. I'll give it to you.
But close enough, right? So this happens and he starts 2003. He's a Russian man, and apparently he's like a historian. Like he's written history books. But in 2003, he starts grave robbing, but he's stealing little girls, right? Young girls, 10 years old, 9.
Like dead ones already?
Yes.
Okay.
Young, right? He takes them home to his apartment that he lives with his parents, right? He brings home this girl. They're sleeping that night, so they don't know. So he digs them up, takes them home, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to salt and baking soda their body. I'm going to dry them out and preserve these little girls, right? So he goes through this mummifying process. First, he like salts them and then baking soda, puts them all over their body, dries them out. Next, he stuffs them. He's using rags, he's using like bandages, and then he's like wrapping them up like mummies, right? Then he like strolls his neighborhood and he's going through the trash in his neighborhood. He's grabbing women's clothes, makeup, anything he can find, right? Because he wants them to look like dolls. Wait, before he mummifies them, I'm sorry, I forgot this very crazy shit that went down. He opens up their chest and he puts like a voice box, a music box, something that makes noise inside their chest before, because he wants them to be like a doll, so when they move, they're like making noise.
How long ago was this?
This is 2003. It starts.
This is 2003.
Oh.
This is 2003, and he doesn't even get arrested until 2011.
I have it in my head like 19.
Hundreds and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what
Y'all,
I was
when
thinking,
tell
like
you,
music box, but so it's
he's
like
dug up 29 girls. He's made 29 dolls, right? But he goes through this process, and then he makes these masks like out of wax for them because he wants them to look like dolls. And he's using like items, like he'll tear off like doll eyes and put them on there, or he's using buttons, anything that resemble an eyeball. And then he puts them over these girls. Then he dresses them. But he's like grooming them, right? He treats them as their children. He like brushes their hair. He changes their clothes. But what's even more crazy is he has them all over the apartment. His like parents don't know because they're so wrapped up and they look like dolls. His parents assume that they really are dolls.
Right.
Because apparently when he was younger, he had an obsession with dolls and he like made dolls like when he was little. So they just thought it was like a revisiting. They're like, oh, he's just doing some weird DIY project.
These are like 1 or 2 year old girls.
No, they're like 9. Like they're like, you know, in that range.
So they're like at a decent height.
Yeah, those are big dolls.
Yes. Oh yes. So he makes them look like dolls. He places them all over their house, but he has like tea parties with them. You know what I mean? He has like tea parties. He sets them in front of like the TV. He watches like TV with them. He calls them his girls. He has birthday parties for them, right? Over the years, like he'll remember.
Yeah, that's how I
feel. He takes pictures of the gravestones, remembers their birthday, and then he like buys party hats and shit. And they all like sit around the table and be celebrating.
How is this not a Netflix special?
I don't know, dude. I was mind blown by this. I was like, excuse me? This is crazy. And then, like, he gets caught eventually. But when he gets caught, like, when the cops are, like, interviewing him, obviously, he's like, well, I never took them without their permission. He said he would sleep on top of the grave the night before, and they would come to him in his dreams. And they would ask him to, like, relieve them. They were not happy in their ground. He's like, I never took anybody who didn't want to be taken. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my God.
And his parents were like, oh, I had no idea. But there was one doll that he made that was like at his parents' like the head of their bed, like it was a gift. And he had some in the living room. He had some in the garage. He had them in his room.
Yo, that house has got to be fucking haunted.
And this is what's crazy. That's why I think his parents are full of shit because they're super old and he lived with them. But they're like, I didn't know what was going on, but like clearly it smelled bad.
That's what I was about to ask.
Because they're decaying. And
At
you know,
what
and
point-
they are decaying still.
How fresh were these bodies?
Some of them are not even that fresh.
Well, that's
So-
what I want to know is like at one point, does your body stop smelling? Especially, they were probably embalmed. You know?
You said he packed them in, well, you said salt and baking soda, right?
Yes. And then, like,
So
wrap
some
them
odor
up.
would be removed, I would assume, because baking soda is freaking
I feel
magical
like it
like
wouldn't
that.
smell that bad at that point, especially with the embalming fluid inside of them. It probably, number one, it slowed them down, but also like, I feel like we're imagining a gnarly, grotesque house when it probably was very clean, and it was probably a very clean process.
That's what I think.
And this man really didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He thought he was doing something great.
I was gonna ask, like,
That's
why
not
didn't
great.
he just? That's not
And he
great.
went, and this is what set him off, is he wanted to adopt kids because he always wanted to have kids. But he was like lonely and he wanted a companion. And he went to go to adopt a child, like fill out the paperwork, and they were like, hell no, you can't have this
Yeah,
child.
I mean, good thing that they made that
this is
choice.
like, no. And he like went off, and then that was his first victim, dude. He was like, oh, you're not going to give me a kid? I'm going to make myself a kid.
There's always my way.
And he called them his girls, and this is what's even more nuts, dude. On their birthday or like New Year's and stuff, he would write these girls notes, right? And he wouldn't stick them with the dolls in his house. He would take them to their grave sites, and the families would find these, dude, have no idea.
Wait, did he rebury the ground and make it look all nice
Yeah,
again?
some of these graves, dude, were so compacted that you would have no idea that he dug them up.
Where's the security? This is nuts.
That's what I'm saying.
So I was gonna ask,
Wild.
why didn't he just like make dolls? You know, like real dolls. But then again, obviously, someone in their right mind is not going to think logically like that. So there's really no answer behind that. It's just whatever he made up in his schizophrenic mind, unfortunately.
Yes, dude, and he had favorites. That's what's weird. So the ones that are in his room were his favorites,
chills.
and the ones that he liked the least, what he said, were in the garage.
I'd be so pissed if I got like
God,
exhumed.
no, you're good.
If I got like exhumed and got shoved in the garage because I was not the favorite, like you better make me the favorite if you're gonna dig me up out of the ground.
Yeah, dude, 29 girls.
His parents had to have known,
And that's what I'm saying.
Like they just turned their
But
other.
also, they did say that his parents would leave from like April to August, so he'd be alone in the apartment, and that's when he would bring them all out.
That makes sense.
Like, he'd be like, "We're having a party. We're having a get together.
We're having a
this
party.
Is Last
We're
Supper
having a
with
shindig."
my girls right now."
Can you imagine?
It's not funny. I'm so sorry.
It
It's
is-
just like it's mind blowing.
We laughed
to
at
me.
the Albert Fish shit. I think we can laugh at this.
Guys,
Some people laugh when
what
they're
the fuck
freaked
is
out
going
by
Can you
it.
imagine like your parents, like you forget, like they come home early from a trip and they're just seeing like all these dolls and party hats, and he's just sitting there like,
These my
"Welcome
girls."
home, mom and dad."
That's
Yeah,
probably
he'd be
not
singing
even the
them
weirdest shit
nursery
they've
rhymes
seen.
and stuff too. They like watch cartoons. He would ask. They'd have conversations with them, ask if they were hungry. Like him's just like
Him's
just
Eat
crazy.
your oatmeal.
Yeah, no, exactly. It freaked me out.
Are there pictures? I mean, I don't want to see necessarily the girls, but I am very curious. What was his name? Do you know? Do you remember?
Anatoly Moskvin.
Anatoly.
He's a Russian man.
I'll put it in the video as well.
Oh my
Anatoly.
gosh, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
And when the cops did find these bodies, yes.
it looks like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Some of these parents had no idea that their kid had been dug up. They were like, "What do you mean you found the remains? We buried our daughter."
I
Like,
could think
what?
of a no worse hell than that. Like finding out your child that had been, you already went through all that trauma, and then you find out they like got dug up,
Yes.
stuffed, shoved. Like their body's never gonna be at peace again.
No, never.
Is this what some of the dolls look like?
Yes, dude. It's like,
His parents
What
had
is
to have
happening?
known.
what is happening?
What the?
That's what I'm saying,
I'll add.
bro.
You want to see?
It's so crazy.
It honestly looks like a ghost. It's kind of hard to see.
It's nuts.
I'll add it in the video. That's
Yo.
Yes,
Okay.
dude. Yes.
yo Netflix. I got $1 million idea for you.
And it's like, it was crazy to me that happened that recent. Like, he got caught in
Oh, they have the
2011.
actual pictures online.
Yes.
Oh my. Okay, so for anyone who wants to look it up, it's
Look it up.
Anatoly Moskvin and the mummified children. Check that out.
Wild.
His parents knew. There's
That's
no
what I'm
way.
saying, dude.
Oh
It's
my
like, you're a
God.
liar.
No way.
You're a liar and a fat mouth, dude.
A fat mouth.
A fat mouth. This is so gnarly.
So
These poor children.
And he
Sorry,
really didn't
I'm
think he
just-
was doing anything wrong.
Okay, this one I would believe wasn't real. Look at that. I would
No.
believe that wasn't real.
Obviously, I was like, come on, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, your parents are so full of shit, dude. Like, they're just trying to cover for you.
Yeah, absolutely. They knew he was messed up, and they were probably like, "Oh, well, we don't want to send him away." Which I get it. I'm just saying, like, I get it. You don't want the worst for your children, but there's a point where
That's not okay.
maybe they were justifying it. Like, at least he's not killing these kids. You know, I'm not saying that's right. I'm
It's
saying like maybe in
that
their
is so disrespectful. You leave their souls alone, dude. They're trying to rest, and you just be coming up in there, taking their bodies.
Do you think that if your body is disturbed after burial, that you can't rest anymore, or do you think that your spirit just doesn't care? I have thoughts about
I don't
that.
know.
I feel like you'd be able to just not even think about it. I feel like that's a thing of the past to you. Like you're not attached to your body anymore.
It could be.
Unless you're haunting something.
yeah, I would be taking ghostly poops on his pillow every night. Like,
Spooky
And then I
dookies.
did look up because I'm like, is he
Some
doing?
spookies.
Is he doing like weird shit? Like, are you having sex with these dolls? Sir?
That's what I was thinking.
No, he did not. That he said.
I mean, I will say it seems like he's treating them more like
He said that he was like, it was his children.
that's no.
well,
That's-
thank you for the nightmares I'm gonna have later.
Yeah. If you guys know anything about it, let me know.
Yeah, throw it in the comments. We'll research it
I'm
some more.
I'm still looking into it because I'm obsessed with
There
this.
has to be a documentary or something somewhere.
There has to be. I'm so
That's
obsessed
so
with it that when I
wild.
went to sleep last night, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have so many questions.
Think about having a bunch of dead children in your house.
I'm thinking about what is going on?
And well,
What is wrong with people?
All right,
Matt's got
so
some-
something lighter, real quickly, before we change subjects.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No,
it was
no,
just
no.
intense.
In 1982, Groucho Marx Groucho Marx's ashes were stolen from a cemetery in Mission Hills, California. They were later found in Burbank, apparently because Marx once said, "I'd never be caught dead in Burbank."
Dang.
But it's kind of funny in so many ways, just because A is Groucho Marx, who was, he's one of the godfathers of comedy. Exactly, like a great grandson's friend or something like that.
Exactly, someone that knew.
Yeah, knew the Marx family. That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, at least they put him somewhere where someone could find him.
Yeah, they obviously they put him somewhere where he could be found in Burbank.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine. Why would you hate Burbank so much back in the 1910s and 20s?
Have you ever been to Burbank?
Oh yeah.
Fuck Burbank. I hate Burbank. I always get stuck in Burbank. The traffic there is horrible. It's anytime I try to get off the freeway, I can't find my way back on the freeway, or everything is so congested there. I hate Burbank. Me and Melissa,
I wouldn't want to be there either.
No, my friend Melissa and I, we have a constant thing where we're just don't pull off in Burbank. Wait until the next one. We hate Burbank.
You're mm-mm.
Yeah.
I had to go to LAX on Saturday, so I had to drop my friend off at the airport, and then I'm like, I wonder how far Snoop Dogg's store is from here.
Of course you would think that.
And I'm like, because I wanted to get the Steelers Snoop Dogg pop for my dad, because you're only able to buy one at a time when you go in there, and I got one for me. So I had to get one for my dad.
I got one for me.
I had to get one for me, so I had to get one for my dad, because he said he saw it and he's like, oh, I want one, because he's a big Steelers fan.
Oh, your dad.
So I went on my way and went there, and then I was like, oh, Randy's Donuts is right over here too. So I went to Randy's Donuts, and I passed the car wash. There's one car wash, and I'm like, is that the car wash from the movie The Wash?
Matt's just having the best time of his life.
I'm having kid moments in my brain. I love finding random locations. One of these days, me and my buddies are gonna go find the Friday House.
I want to go find the office.
She said the real office.
Yeah, I think it's in Burbank actually. So want to go get stuff?
Oh, I thought you wanted to go to some paper place in Pennsylvania. I was
no, there's where they filmed it is here in California, I believe. So we'll have to go find it.
I've seen the set from Big Bang Theory and stuff like that.
Where's that?
It was at the Warner Brothers studio.
Oh, okay. I want to go on that tour. I heard that was tight.
I've never done the Warner Brothers studio tour, but I've been on the Warner Brothers lot.
Personalized.
I heard it was. I heard they have actual Harry Potter stuff there on display and stuff like.
Stop.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
no joke. They said
down,
they
Sarah.
have some of the Quidditch brooms and stuff like that, and some of the house robes that were used in the movie and things like
her
that.
eyes are gonna go to the back of her head.
My eyes are watering because I'm so excited right now.
I don't know if they still have it on, but this was 5 or 10 years ago when I first heard about it, the studio tours, and
I have a couple of friends that went, and they said it's very personalized. They'll ask you what do you like in the Warner Brothers world.
The first time I went to Harry Potter in the Universal place, me and Kyle went. I cried.
Did you really?
I sure did.
I hope you did.
It was such a beautiful moment for me.
Which part? The initial entrance or going up to the castle?
Just walking in here,
just
and I was like, this is
it.
my whole childhood right here. And
it's
I just
really good.
Feel good here. I feel happy.
I feel like I'm on the same boat as her on that. I didn't cry, but I sat there and I was in awe and wonder.
You cried.
I was in straight up awe. I was like,
Matt, if you cried, it's okay. I also
no,
cried.
I didn't. The last thing I actually cried at was the thing that they did on the Nintendo Direct with the Mario RPG re-release. I got actually teared up because it was childhood reawakening.
Oh,
it was. I teared up. I'm not gonna lie. I teared up because I was like, oh my god, it looks so good.
This shit is heavy.
It did. It looked so good.
The differences in your guys' little joys in life is so fun.
But the Harry Potter thing was I did as soon as you walk through there, it does feel like you are somewhere else.
I said it's really cool.
You are
they set the standard for
else.
immersive experience.
Oh, definitely. You sit there, you're like, oh, this is Springfield. It looks kind of dumpy.
Springfield's horrible. Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't like Springfield anymore.
They don't do. They
need to clean that shit up.
They kind of called it in on that. Also, their contract's almost up with it.
Even if it's almost up, I think that they're going to continue because people do go, which I think take the Simpsons ride down. It's horrible. It's dirty.
I hate that ride. I wish they would take it to Back to the Future because Back to the Future was badass.
It was
I don't even care if it's old.
Oh my god, the Back to the Future ride. Oh yeah.
Well, they just have so much room there for such a new, up to date experience.
Yeah, and the Terminator, dude. Why do you take Terminator away?
The real motorcycle.
That was my favorite one, dude.
Cool.
Was it Disneyland or was it Universal that had the alien encounter?
Disney World. Well, no, Magic Kingdom. It was called Alien Encounter, and it was everyone sits in these seats, and in the middle is this tube, and then you have these
You never heard of the Alien Encounter?
No.
Well, I've never been on it.
I've watched videos, and the reason they tore down the ride or they stopped doing the ride, it was scaring the literal shit out of people.
It was too scary. I mean, when you think about it, Michael Eisner was down. Like he wanted some gnarly
That's
stuff.
badass.
Yeah, I think we have some of the best rides at Disney because of Michael Eisner.
I agree.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is from Michael Eisner. Like Star Tours is Michael Eisner. So he wanted he saw Alien and wanted something like that, but obviously they couldn't get the licensing for it. They did on the Great Movie Ride, but for that one they had to do a completely different experience. So they had this monster. Or this alien, and it looks insane. And you can only see some blurry pictures of it because it came out so long ago. But it was only out for a little while because it was too scary. So they closed it down and they rebranded it as Stitch's Great Escape. So it was Stitch was the alien that came in, not this monster. Okay. But basically what happens is you're in the middle of this room, you're watching them teleport this alien in. And naturally something goes wrong, like in every Disney ride, and it breaks out. And all of a sudden you feel it running around your feet.
You can feel it dragging across your feet. You can feel it breathe on your neck.
And then the lights go out, and then you see someone with a flashlight up there looking for it.
I remember watching videos on it and just being like, dude, that looks so insane.
It looked good, yeah.
Oh,
you can't see good quality videos because of how dark it was at the time and cameras sucked, but quite the experience.
But
we were talking about grave robbing.
Okay,
I'm so distracted.
We're gonna change from grave robbing to we're gonna go hot and heavy, and we're gonna get into some necrophilia.
Ooh, code blue.
Ooh. As soon as I started going down the rabbit hole for necrophilia, I got right back out because I was like, I did not like what I was reading. When it came to the legality of things and it was so weird because it's such a super gray area in a lot of states nowadays. And I'm just like, that's
Name a state.
Oh gosh, they just barely. Oh gosh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Here, I'll look it up while you're
Michigan,
talking.
or I sent a link for one of them because Indiana.
Okay.
Indiana just barely made it to where necrophilia is illegal now because of people. I'm guessing.
I hate that.
But I didn't look up if it's legal here in California or not and things like that. And it's what the hell? But the only thing, because mainly they bust you for desecrating a cemetery.
Oh,
that's the main crime they'll get you for is breaking into a cemetery and
not the actual act.
And destruction of the private property or
whatever.
Because
the body's not property at that point.
Yeah,
right?
And that's where the gray area has been is is it a person? Is it still a person? Is it someone's property? Or is it a sex toy?
So there are 9 U.S. states where necrophilia is, or there are no laws address necrophilia. This doesn't mean do it. I'm just saying. I'm stating
Please
what
don't.
it says on the internet.
Don't do it! Just don't do it!
Illinois, Kansas, Louisiana, big surprise,
Ding, 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 ding.
Nebraska, New Mexico, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Vermont, Wisconsin. I see a southern theme happening.
And Wisconsin,
Yeah.
they got to find a way to stay warm, I guess.
No,
I have questions about necrophiliacs.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, well, you were the one that was reading. You brought this subject up.
I read 3 articles and then I had to go pet my dog because I was just I didn't like what I was reading. I was
Okay,
just
well, check it out. If
Pet the
you
fuzzy
are
wall.
into necrophilia,
stroke the furry wall.
do you go through the obituary and you're like, this person just died. Let me Google them really quick.
That's a
I
good
want to see what they look
question.
like. Do you have preferences on what they look like?
I kind of thought about that too. I'm not gonna lie. I thought
know
that
that's some sick
can you imagine
shit, but
some
it's a
dude
real
that just sat there? He's like, oh, my high school crush died.
He said,
brain
oh, shit.
He's like, brain aneurysm, so
That's
the
what I'm
body's still
saying.
good.
Dear Diary, jackpot.
I guarantee they probably have a specific look they're going for.
That's what I'm saying.
Or
It's
a
they gotta have
certain
a type.
amount of Ted
sounds
Bundy, for
disgusting,
example,
but-
would go back the next few
Yes.
days. Was it weeks or days after they
I think
died?
it's days.
I could be wrong
I'm
on that one.
not too
but
sure.
Yeah, allegedly days. And he would obviously kill them first. But are there any body snatchers that take him for that reason? I know that there are, but do we know of any?
I don't know of any.
I didn't find any specific cases, to be honest. I kept on going into laws and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I also want to know if morticians, how often do morticians be dabbling in this?
Dude, I've thought
I read an
about
article about this a year or two. Let me look it up. Sorry, I got really excited.
I've thought about
just
while you're
very
looking that up. I've thought about
Go
that
ahead.
too. Can you imagine the
Right?
mortician or some low down scheme where the mortician some guy pays a mortician hey
Yeah,
before you drain that body.
guaranteed.
Let me get it. And there's probably some people out there that just specifically want that job for it.
That's correct.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, here, this article I'm about to find.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
You
so why do you want
nasties.
It's like, why do you want to become a mortician? Oh, I heard there's a high female mortality rate in this.
Oh, wow. Necrophilia among morgue workers is far more common than people think.
Ooh, I knew
Oh
it.
A
God.
study published in the Journal of Bulletin of American Academy of Psychiatry and the Law found more people use corpses for sexual pleasure in the 122 cases reviewed. Oh, wait. But there was like a specific, I want to say it was like Arizona or something. Hold on. It was like, okay, I'll find it. But it was a mortician specifically who had like been with most of his corpses. And
I have a question. Okay, so obviously it's like, if a girl is a necrophilia, like, how you do that?
He's naturally stiff.
Is he really? Is that for real?
No.
Oh, I was like, no way. They have boners when they die. That's fucking wild. But how would you do it as a girl? Like,
Well,
if you
I mean,
wanted to, you know.
I feel like because there aren't too many female predators out there, you know, like child predators, for example. I'm sure it's happened, but I feel like our brains work differently, so it's probably not a very common thing with females.
Okay, you think she just grinds on it?
I was literally
Yeah.
about to say that. I was like, she probably just like
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be
grinds
gross.
on
I'm
it
trying
and
to be
a
all
little
like
bump and grind
scientific,
or
like
something.
statistics and stuff, and Sarah's just, you think we grind
You
on
think
it?
she'd be grinding? I think so.
I totally remember, this is like 2 years ago, a mortician who like he was a necrophiliac, and basically every single one that went through here, he just went for.
That is wild.
Yeah, I'll have to find the article and send it to you guys. I'm so bummed that I can't think about this
I'm
right
sad
now.
now.
Random thought. What do you
think? What are you doing?
What is it?
What's the matter?
Matt's gonna explode. What is it?
I don't want to say it.
Say it. I want you to
it.
say it.
Can't get her pregnant.
Matt. It's
She also can't complain, you know?
Oh,
Dang, just kidding.
anyway.
Sorry, Tiff.
nay.
Rude. I'm so sorry.
Matt looked like he was about to explode. You let that out so easy.
I'm sorry. It just like rolled off the tongue natural.
Matt's done. Did you guys know that Benjamin Franklin had? I'm gonna let you breathe for a minute.
Breathe, Matthew.
I'm good.
Serenity now.
Okay, real quick, fun fact about grave robbing. So, 1982, the Misfits play one of their first shows in New Orleans. And then after, they go to a graveyard. The whole entourage, there's like 30 people. The singer of I Hate God was there. He was like young, 15 years old at the time when this happened. But they just go to they went to go visit, I believe, it was like a certain girl that was buried there, and they were gonna go visit the grave. She's like well known, I forgot her name, so sorry. But the cops roll up and they arrest them for grave robbing, even though they didn't do anything. They only spent jail overnight. And it was only out of those 30 people, only 3 of them weren't arrested, and that was because they were minors.
Oh damn. Wait.
And the cop called him Dracula. He rolled up on Jerry and was like, "Hey, Dracula."
That's pretty
Stop
good.
it. I just thought that was wild.
I-
How that would happen to them.
Of course. Well, I mean, like,
It fits with it,
yeah.
you know?
So it was Mary Laveau was the person's name, and I'm
there
trying
it
to
is.
find out her
There it is.
find out the actual relevance to it.
I'm still broken from you guys a few minutes ago. Welcome back, by the way. You kind
God,
of
people are just not
I
gonna
had-
like our humor.
I was trying to
I'm
bite
here.
my tongue, and then you guys say
No,
it. I'm
you
like,
weren't.
fuck
You
it.
were ready. That was coming
I did
out.
not want to say it, and you're like, go for it. I'm like, fine, fuck it. And
I
you,
had to piggyback off that.
oh, I know. Fucking high five on that shit.
Boom. That's why you guys are on that couch.
Got the peanut gallery over here. And
Did you guys know that Benjamin Franklin, they found 12 bodies under his house?
I heard about that.
Excuse me?
Yeah. He had 12 bodies. I think it was 12.
Was it women, or is it various?
All kinds of bodies.
All kinds of bodies.
Actually, the father of hematology was one of the ones that they found under his
no
basement,
shit.
in his basement. Because back then, basements were just basically dirt ground, you know? So people were thinking he was this serial killer. But then the real answer is essentially you could take bodies and you pay people, literally we were talking about earlier, pay people, they dig them up, bring them to you. Bottom line, people would steal the bodies, sell them to him, and then he would dissect it. And he actually had a running anatomy school in his house. And so he would use the bodies to show how to dissect bodies,
No
how
shit.
to amputate. It was for a lot of medical purposes. And he actually ended up starting a school where that was a more common thing. And because they needed more bodies, they needed, so they would have people grave rob and stuff.
Like, just put them in the basement.
Exactly. That's where I actually didn't get to find out that part, why they so poorly dispose of the bodies in the basement. But I guess
I don't understand when people do that.
especially
And it's so
Benjamin
common.
Are we done with
Franklin.
this? Yeah, just chuck it downstairs. I'll take
Benjamin
care of it
Franklin,
later.
I feel like would do more with that.
I wish I had one of those jobs to like dissect bodies.
I mean, I think you can go to those body farms and like.
Because that'd be crazy. Just to like see some like crazy shit like that.
I know a couple of people that have been in like autopsy rooms and stuff.
Wow, see, that's what I want to see.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind
probably
watching
sound
an
like a
autopsy.
bullshitter. I'm just like, I know
With
this
my
person,
own
I know that
eyeballs.
one. Yeah, it's.
I would like to see like the weights and all that. And
They said that the sounds, like when they peel back the face and stuff, is like a sound you never forget.
it's like
I imagine like stirring your macaroni, like that kind of sound.
What kind of noises are you thinking of?
That's what I'm imagining. But no, they said it's like a totally different experience, you know, and like you know that they're not there anymore. But I agree with you. I think it'd be very fascinating to go there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We should look into that. Maybe a field trip.
Did you ever
Field
see?
trip.
There was a serial killer. Well, no, he wasn't a serial killer. He was a hitman. I think he was like the Icebox Killer or something like that was his name.
Yes.
The Iceman.
Yes.
And like when he died, he wished to have his body donated to science. But the way they did it was they froze him. I think they froze him. And then they sliced him like millimeters at a time.
Oh, I
and
have
then they
heard of that.
scanned him. Like there's a website where you can see his entire anatomy,
Rotten.com.
like through millimeters, like the layers of like his like entire system, like
Well, it's
endocrine
basically
and
like those
everything.
body worlds things, how they do those.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's in his entire body just broken down. Like they just, it's, like I said, millimeters at a time.
They were able to analyze his brain and understand what made him the way he was right at the time.
That is so
think so.
wild.
Yeah. Did you know H.H. Holmes? You remember that? Not remember, we weren't alive,
He
but
was like
you've heard of him.
1920s, right?
Earlier, he was same time as Jack the Ripper. Was that 18?
You're right. Look it up.
I'm gonna throw out a number. So he actually, I think he worked at a school of anatomy, and he would take bodies home on the weekend to like after hour study, you know. And I guess he was like always just so fascinated. Obviously, we know he's a killer and stuff like that, but the accounts were explaining that like he was so fascinated, like almost like too eager to get home with them and stuff. And then I guess at one point in time he had an infant's corpse that he was like beyond ecstatic to take home. And the fact that they let people just take bodies home and like, oh man,
Why do you got that body in your
like
car?
yeah, the 1800s were a wild time.
Yeah,
what was the
absolutely.
time? H.H. Holmes' time? Did you look it up?
He died in the late 90s, 1890s.
I was like, what? No.
No, it was 1890. He was born in like 1861 and died in 1896. So he was only like 35. Holy shit.
How'd he die?
Oh no, that's where he died. I was like, I don't know that word.
Mayberry.
It says where he died in prison, but it doesn't say how.
I wonder if we could get a grave robbing expert or someone like that to come in and talk with us.
A grave robbing expert or a
definitely.
grave digging expert?
Either way, like someone that knows a little bit more about the subject that we can ask questions. Because I feel like we still all have a lot of questions.
Have a
about
lot
this.
of questions.
Well, do you think we can get somebody in here?
I absolutely. You guys, I know someone. I know a guy personally.
We'll let Sarah work her connections, and maybe next time we will have someone here that we can
gonna
ask
hit
some
'em
more
up.
questions to.
Any recommendations, whatever, please feel free to write in the comments.
Comments.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for
Movies to
listening.
Yeah, let us know.
Invasions
movies,
of Body Snatchers. Also watch that movie.
Topics.
Let's add that to the list.
grotesque subjects. We like them all. Bring them our way.
Everything.
And if you like Matt and Sarah's sense of humor, go ahead and also like this
Okay.
video. All right, guys.
If
Have a
you
good
need
night.
me to tame it down, tell me.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Day, whatever. Bye.